Heyo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Matthew Maley for MatthewMaley.com. We are back on the couch. It is time for another installment of Weekly Movie Review with yours truly. This is where I review a new release and give you my 2 cents on it. Or, like I always say, it's a lot more than 2 cents because I talk so damn much. And kind of let you know if it's worth buying, worth watching, or something you should just steer clear of, in my humble opinion. And I've watched a ton of movies, so that's really all my credentials. But it's something fun to do. So hopefully it keeps you guys from seeing some bad movies and get you guys seeing some good movies. So this week I checked out Clint Eastwood's most recent directorial picture, that of J. Edgar, the story of J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI's really creator and fearless leader for almost 50 years. And stars Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio plays J. Edgar Hoover, as well as a great role by Armie Hammer, who plays Clyde Tolson, who is Edgar's best friend, right-hand man, is also desperately in love with him, and probably some feelings reciprocated. We'll get into that more. As well as, which Armie Hammer, he played, again, another amazing role as the Winklevoss twins in Social Network, which really shot him up the ranks. And I gotta say, after this flick, dude can do it all. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed by him. I thought he was great as the Winklevoss twins, especially it's interesting playing 2 characters. That's kind of cool. But in this, he takes the cake for that. As well as Naomi Watts plays his secretary, literally for his entire career. As well as Judi Dench plays his mother. And also, we all know I love Burn Notice, so shout out to my boy Jeffrey Donovan, who plays Robert Kennedy. And honestly, I think he was the best cast of everybody. I don't know what it is, but he's only on screen for probably 3 scenes, and in all 3 of those scenes, he just oozes Kennedy. It's amazing. Literally, he was made to be Robert Kennedy, even more than Michael Weston, and I love Michael Weston. But if you don't watch Burn Notice, there's another show you should check out. So the basis of the movie is a look back at J. Edgar Hoover's life, but it's actually done from a perspective of he's dictating his autobiography to an agent, essentially, and you get to relive all of the major points throughout his life story, as well as seeing exactly how he's wording everything and how he's doing everything. Possibly, as he even says, when somebody says, "Is this for your legacy or for the legacy of the FBI?" and he says, well, they're one and the same. So it's interesting to see how he forms some things and how he makes some things work that maybe he shouldn't have. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, Hoover was known to be one of the most important people in the history of federal investigation, period. He is essentially what created the federal level of investigation. More than just the state police, he made it a national institution. And he also is credited with being the forefather of fingerprints, which was amazing. The guy truly did so many incredible things for the country, but he also was so paranoid and so power hungry to always be the accepted and in the spotlight person that he abused his power to the nth degree more times than you can count, with illegal wiretapping, eavesdropping, deportations without trial, just incredible amounts of mistakes, missteps, and miscues. But at the end of the day, he also was the reason that there's an FBI today. Whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing is up to you. At the end of the day, he really was one of the most important and powerful people of the past, multiple hundred years. I like that they actually, a lot of the filming is shot because the same characters play them as young and old. So Naomi Watts, Armie Hammer, and Leonardo DiCaprio are all seen multiple times wearing old suits. And I thought that was really well done because they actually make them look pretty damn convincing for old people. It's funny whenever I see somebody in an old suit, I automatically think of Johnny Knoxville and Spike Jonze and Jackass, but it's a little bit more serious. But the initial breakdown of the movie begins back in the 1920 era when there was a strong threat of communists and Bolsheviks invading the U.S. And you constantly see the level of fear that Hoover had of a massive invasion. And it's something that plagued him permanently. In his personal life, in his business life, everything. He always had this paranoia of, big bad, whoever it is, Russia, the communists, the socialists, this, that, or whatever. There's always was somebody, leering around the corner, ready to attack the country. And it really does. Leonardo DiCaprio is a great actor. I'm not a huge fan of him. I liked him a lot more after The Departed and Blood Diamond and Catch Me If You Can. But before that, I just didn't really like him that much. Also, when I was younger and I had longer hair, I could not go a day without somebody telling me I looked like Leonardo DiCaprio. So it kind of got a little annoying, and I think that's part of the reason why I didn't like him too much. But he really does a very good job with this. I personally would say that his performance is better than the overall movie, similar to one of his other films, The Aviator, which I thought he did a great job in, but I didn't think the movie was that great. I would say as an overall level, well, I'll get into the movie, how I rate it in a minute. I want to go a little bit more through the story first. It then goes into when literally he is given the FBI through some not exactly kosher ways of policing. They end up getting rid of most of the FBI and pretty much turning it over to him. He was the youngest FBI director in history. I want to say he was like 24 when he took over. And he turned it from a humble ragtag group into a true bureau. He had, specifics on what you couldn't eat, couldn't drink, how you had to be fit, couldn't wear facial hair, what suits you could wear, and he was Stalin-ish in terms of making sure people follow those rules. And again, he came through, he presented himself so well. And I gotta say it was cool to see the progression from when you first see him as a younger agent, living with his mother, to an older man still living with his mother, to finally, after his mother dies, to an old man, and he still is so that same little boy, well, not little boy, but young man from the beginning in so many ways. His mother was a very, very domineering personality, very controlling personality, played by Judi Dench, who I think is a great actress. Always picked out his clothes, did all the things that an overbearing mother would do, but usually would stop doing by the time the person's 18 or 19. Granted, times were different back then, but still. And because of her staunch ways and her staunch mindsets, so much of him was so forever repressed. And anybody who knows anything about Hoover knows about the allegations of homosexuality, about the allegations of cross-dressing, the allegations of more, secret files on literally everybody. And they even go into that a little bit. Like one person says something he doesn't like, so he says, get 4 agents following him anywhere he goes. I need a file on him. It's just like second nature. It's just what you do. Boom, boom, boom. And it definitely was interesting, to see that aspect of it and seeing it actually played out on film. The other aspect that really was discussed was the homosexuality aspect, because Clyde, who's played by Armie Hammer, is blatantly gay. You can pretty much see that from I mean, within the first few frames. That's one thing I thought was very good, is he conveyed his attraction to Hoover in a very much of like an admiration kind of way, but also more than that. So you could definitely see like, oh, he admires this guy for what he's been able to do, but there's a little more to it as well. And there's actually a pretty pivotal scene that really boils over many years into their friendship, or whatever you would call it. And it definitely lends a lot of insight, if you will, into the actual relationship, friendship, whatever. And also back in in those days, homosexuality isn't anywhere near as accepted as it is now. So that is something that you just did not discuss. And that's one thing that I thought was really cool, is there was never a spoken agreement, or there was no sex. There was no, from what the movie portrays. I don't know if there actually was, but from the movie portrays, there was nothing like that between Clyde and J. Edgar's characters. But it was always this unspoken bond. It was always this, oh, we're going to the movie premiere? Well, we're going, the two of us. Oh, we're going away for the weekend? Well, we'll get adjoining rooms, but we're going. And it was always covered in some side of, oh, we're going to save money, so we're going to get adjoining rooms. Or, oh, we should do this for this. And there always was a reasoning behind it. But it also was very clear that while Clyde for sure wanted it, J. Edgar probably did as well. But there's a very pivotal scene when his mother essentially says she would rather have a dead son than a gay son. And that's something that is so pivotal throughout the whole movie, and actually gets played out in a scene where they go over some of the cross-dressing allegations as well. I thought that the movie did a good job pacing. It was a long movie. It came in at almost 2 hours and 15 minutes. But I thought that it did a good job dedicating a good amount of time to each era. Starting off with the Bolshevik era, the communist era, going into the gangster era with John Dillinger, with Machine Gun Kelly. Then it went into the Lindbergh baby era. And then finally it started going into it made a little stop into JFK getting killed. Then it went into Martin Luther King Jr., and then into Nixon. And he had a decent file on Nixon. And there's just, I don't want to go into anything, but there's a pretty good back and forth regarding Nixon. But I do want to talk about God, what is her name? How did I just slip that up? She plays his assistant, Naomi Watts. I want to say Tia Leone, but Naomi Watts plays his assistant, Helen Gandy, who actually he asks out on a date. She kind of shoots him down when he attempts to kiss her, and at that point he then offers her a job, and she proceeds to be a secretary for the rest of the tenure, essentially. And she really is his road dog. She has his back. And there's always that, again, kind of that admiration. And in the beginning, you could see that there was a desire from J. Edgar's, perspective, not as much from her perspective. But then I also saw it a couple different times later on where you kind of got a little bit of a desire from her perspective, but it never went there. I thought she did a great job. Again, her work in the old suit also was really solid. But overall, I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was worth seeing. Was it a great movie? I don't think so. It's unfair to do, but you're going to compare it to the other Clint Eastwood movies that he's directed. I don't like Clint Eastwood. I know I've said this before. I don't really like him as an actor. I never have. I wasn't big into westerns when I was younger, so I didn't like Dirty Harry. So I do like 44 Magnum. But I just never have been that big of a fan of Clint Eastwood. I know it's blasphemy, but whatever. But Mystic River was truly an incredible movie. Truly incredible movie. $1 Million Baby was an amazing movie. Even Gran Torino was a really good movie. I personally think so. I would say this movie doesn't measure up to that level. I would say it's more along the lines of Hereafter with Matt Damon, which I also reviewed probably about 8 months to a year ago. So go check that out. Um, but it was probably a little better than Hereafter, I'll say that. But it definitely was not on the caliber of some of the other Clint Eastwood movies that are just amazing. And I know it's unfair to do because Mystic River was truly a damn near 5-star movie. I mean, at least a 4-star, possibly a 4.5-star, probably a 4.5-star, possibly a 5-star movie. I love that movie. Sean Penn was amazing in that movie. But so it is unfair to do, but at the same time, it's impossible not to. So overall, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. There was just something missing about it. It was just something like, when I got done, I was like, okay, that was a good movie, but I didn't feel captivated. I didn't feel, oh, wow, I can't believe, and maybe it's because I didn't know a lot about Hoover, so there wasn't as much of a shock or anything like that. But I don't know. It was good that I saw it. I was happy I saw it. It was a well-filmed movie. I really liked that they went into the fact that so much of his autobiography and stuff that he's known for was exaggerated at least, and at some points completely made up. I really like that they went into that. But at the end of the day, I just felt like, okay, cool, that was a cool movie. I'm glad I saw it. That was it. Not, I got to go buy that. Not, I got to go add that to the catalog, It was just, oh, it was a cool movie. So, for that reason, I give it 3.5 stars. Definitely do say it's worth seeing. Just if you're curious about J. Edgar Hoover, or you like Leonardo DiCaprio, or Armie Hammer, or Naomi Watts. But I don't really think it's worth buying, in my opinion. Definitely not Clint Eastwood's best work, or really probably in his top 3 or 4. But still a good movie. So, at the end of the day, go Blockbuster it, go Redbox it, don't buy it. That's my opinion. So, thank you, as always, for checking out my videos on YouTube, or if you're watching on MatthewMailey.com or Facebook. Much love as well. As always, check me out on MatthewMailey.com. Click the video blog tab. See everything right there. Or you can follow your boy up on YouTube. Check me out. Search for Matthew Mailey Poker. Got all my videos there. You can like, comment, subscribe to my channel, as well as maybe tell your friends about it. That'd be cool. Give me a few extra views. Of course, you can follow your boy on Twitter at Matthew Mailey. And like your boy's page on Facebook. Search for Matthew Mailey Poker. So, until the next video, I am officially signing off. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Peace out, y'all.